Hello and welcome to another Wednesday live stream. Happy November 15th. Good Lord. The month has been flying by. Hope you all are having a wonderful week. Happy hobbying to any of you who've been catching up on painting or getting to start painting or are winding down or any of the myriad steps and stages you might be within your hobby. With me I've got the painter Flo. What are you working on today, girl?
More of your Kador.
More Kador. More winter core. Kador winter core dudes. I can't immediately remember the unit. They're the ones with the big bazooka guns.
They're still just basic unit infantry as far as this is concerned.
Okay. There you go. So, them's looking good. Hello to everybody in the chat. I hope you are all having a wonderful week. Yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks for us, but not necessarily so much with the hobby side. I did get to play a 1,000 point. Well, actually, I played a 2,000 point game, but it was a team game, so I played 1,000 points. It's on my phone. I'll have to get a picture of me having my one amazing turn in which I took out a demon prince, maybe? No, it wasn't quite a demon prince. He was a jerk though, because he went and he did 30 wounds to a unit of Space Marines, and then my tank commander actually took him out, and then I whiffed every other turn the entire time.
Wait, I think that was two demon princes, because it was that partner game, right?
Were they actually demon princes though?
Yeah, they both were.
Oh, okay. I thought demon princes were bigger.
I'm trying to
than
remember.
that.
One was like a corn demon.
Yeah, they're both.
The other one I thought was something else, but I don't remember now.
No, they're terrifying and awful. And we lost. But you know what? It was a fun game. It was a fun 2,000 point game. It was
I
me.
want to say it was like a Zinch demon prince or something like that.
Really?
I thought the other guy was something weird like Zinch.
I don't know. I only took a picture of the one I killed. We kind of ignored the other guy because he was off in a corner, and I'm like, my rolls, like, they were not. They were not going to. They were just being very typical for me. So, ho-hum. Oh, Melinda, thank you so much. So, yeah, my friend Melinda is an illustrator. It's not wargaming related, but she has a Kickstarter out for a yearly calendar. And so her 2024 calendar's out. I backed it because I'm a fan of her artwork.
She does really cool artwork.
In fact, several years ago, she made a Tyrannid unicorn drawing that is up on my Facebook somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she did that for us, which was really cool.
Yeah, if somebody wants to put her Kickstarter. Is the Kickstarter still going?
Yes.
If it's still going, somebody could put up the link if anyone wants to check it out.
Yeah.
Her artwork is very good, worth supporting.
It is worth supporting. I agree. But yeah, so that's where we've been at. And then on the turntable here, we have got various gifts from my friend Paul. And we were talking over the weekend, because we've been friends for years and years at this point, and we were talking about how over the several years that had gone on, I come here to chew bubble gum and give divisive topics. All right, and I'm all out of bubble gum. Excellent, I love it. We can talk about the Vice article I'm in.
Yes.
But over the years, Paul had just sort of out of habit, he would pick one of the various assassins from the Imperium to paint up and send to me. And, you know, if you're going to give him my Calidus assassin crap for not having a ponytail. She never had a ponytail. That's his choice. So I've got the bald lady assassin chick here. But I've got her, and then I just recently got this guy here, the Calexis assassin. So yeah, I've got 4 assassons out, and then...
And the Legoist assassin?
And then the Legoist assassin, the Legoist Kriegus assassin. He's so
Legolas? It's not Legolas.
No, he's Legos Kriegus. It's totally different. So, anyway, I totally love all of these. So thank you, Paul. And then I also got some dice, which I still can't roll to save my life, but hey, you know, it's still fine. From Rogue Hobbies. So if you follow her channel, here's some dice that she also, well, Paul sent those to me too, but anyway. Yes, so that's where we're at. The topic for tonight and I don't know how particularly divisive it is, but Paul and I got to talking about modifying models and, you know, what could be considered too far. And the thing that had kicked off the topic was his, what is it called again, dude? The Tyranid Winged Prime. And I've got pictures I can throw up here. Let me grab it. We're going to create a new slideshow and load in all of the images from somewhere. There they are. Add directory. The Tyranid Prime, he didn't care for Weema. The Tyranid wings, and so he didn't have them. But the actual model is called like a Tyranid Prime, right? So let's see here. These are all different conversions. So yeah, you've got the two here, right? Like this is the one with wings, and then like without. And so the question became, are you modeling for advantage by not having the wings on there? And if you are going to convert models, would removing something like wings from a Tyranid with the word wings in its name confuse your opponent? Could that create issues? So that is what I'm looking to explore tonight, or whatever we decide to talk about, because Lord knows we can't stay on track here or stay on topic here. But that was the initial kind of.
Yeah, there's a lot of squirrels on this channel.
There
right?
are a lot of squirrels, and I don't mind. Oh yeah, and that was the other wild thing, as Paul mentioned. The Calexis Assassin only took 6 days from the time he sent it from England to when it arrived in Albuquerque. 6 days, which is faster than what I have sometimes experienced sending within Albuquerque mail. So, yay! Very, very sweet. Let's see, Noisy, hello, welcome. I always think I want Tyranid, then I remember they don't pay rent, taking up half the space in my home. It's actually one of the funny things that I guess seems to be a somewhat American problem is and I'm sure it's everywhere, but like America really truly represents on that. The idea of storage units. I mean, if you own a business of having storage units, you'll make bank because so many people have more things than what actually fit in their house because they want to have whatever things and they won't downsize or get rid of them, or there's a lot of sentimental value to things, or you get stuff through inheritance and it's really kind of hard to necessarily get rid of, or you decide that you are picking up a hobby and you're going to get around to it and that'll probably happen when you retire, but you're going to hold on to it just in case. So many reasons to have storage units that like people pay loads of extra money every month from their paycheck just to hold on to storage, which is not even at their house for stuff they don't use. So, well, we have a studio here that holds all of our stuff. At least I'm actually still playing with my models. So don't feel bad about that. Ender, hello. Welcome, welcome.
All right. Well, I put the Melinda's link, the link in chat, but I don't know how to make it into an actual link. So just copy and paste that if you guys want to check it out.
You did? I don't see it.
Ooh, maybe it doesn't have me as being able to do that.
Yeah. I will have to find it. But, hello, Michael Gray. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. Andrew Fairbanks. After assembling a 15-part Space Marine, literally the last thing I care about is adding pouches, grenades, and emblems. Weema. That's a lot.
Once he's that many, you should just add extra grenades and pouches, like onto his shoulder pads and his helmet, and put him on his jump pack and everything.
Definitely should do that just for the funsies of it. I know whenever I got my Robo Dorn assembled, like all of the little sandbags and gas cans and stuff, like they were kind of the last minute things, and I was like, I had to kind of make myself do that. But
How many pieces is that thing though? It was a lot.
A lot. I don't know how many pieces it is, but it was a lot. yeah. It was a lot. Okay, there's the link. All right, because she's my friend, I'm going to totally put this up here because, yeah. I don't know if this is your jam.
What's
It
the
was
theme
mine.
this time?
It's House of Birds. So they're little bird houses.
Houses for the birds.
Houses for the birds, yes. Oh, yes, houses for the birds. And so the style is like these long, skinny calendars. They have a whole style to them, and then you can see all the different images on there, and it's super cute. And so, it's already funded, so you don't have to really like feel bad if you don't want to get them or anything. But they're super cool, and
You
she's
should
a
get
good
'em made.
artist, and support good artists. Yes. But yeah, as far as like that Rogel Dorn, that was crazy. And I mean, it wasn't bad to assemble. Like I look forward to putting together my second Rogel Dorn. And then I think once I do that, I'll be ready to jump on the Stormlord. I think. Every time I open that though, oh my gosh, this is so intimidating. However, it's like once you get down to adding those little bits. In fact, when I was assembling the Krieg, because I had 2 units from the Octarius box set of Krieg, and they come with all the little extra grenades and shovels and all that stuff. And like they were fun to decorate though, but they're like 4 pieces usually. It's not like a 15-part Space Marine. Like, holy cow. That's a lot. Noisy, I'm considering to invest in that. In storage units? Yeah, me too. Ender, what are we painting today? So Flo is working on the Khador Winter Core box. Privateer had sent it to me, I think around the beginning of the year. And the year has decided to fly by like a bullet. And so I think it's more painted than not at this point.
All the rest of it's over there, so.
Yeah, but it's coming along. Nice, pretty Khador colors. We've updated the Khador red from the tomato red craft paint to, what is it? Mephiston red Citadel paints. So one coat.
Whatever. If you're into those professional paints and all.
Did I say Robo Dorn? I'm sorry, Rogel Dorn.
Wasn't that when Michael Dorn was captured by the Borg and turned into one of them?
Robo Dorn?
Yeah, that's when they got Worf. That happened, right?
Yeah, that tracks. Sure. Oh my goodness. Ruben, hello. Tyranids have totally invaded my home. Worth it. Start a hive fleet. So, I mean, as far as stuff taking up space in your home, like, there are worse hobbies. I mean, what's in your garage? I guess, like, normal, well-adjusted people will have, like, jet skis or boats or RVs and stuff. And it's like, well, you got little plastic crack critters, but I feel like they get used more, and I feel like you get more enjoyment, and there's less maintenance to them. I mean, unless I'm playing, in which case I usually have to have like a repair
That's true.
day.
I haven't had to change the oil on a single miniature.
No, but I usually have to repair a few things. When I got back from Valhalla, actually, before I went to the game store to play my 1,000-point portion of the 2,000-point game, I had to fix Leontis and fix one of the Rough Riders, because spears and models that just want these super dynamic poses are really annoying to transport. They're just...
No, in a way, like, DJ kind of has it right, where he just puts magnets on the bottom of all of them and just sort of slides them on a magnetic
on those
tray.
magnetic trays. Yeah, no, those are honestly a really, really good idea, especially for active playing, like if you're working a tournament or
They
any
just
of that.
don't work well for flights or things like that. You can't.
Yeah, so foam wins for flying, and then those trays are the best for
like
if you're
driving around your
carrying
hometown.
around. Yeah, there you
Going
go.
down to the FLGS.
Exactly. And Noisy, I always played as Zerg in StarCraft. Love the hive mentality. I just worry one of my kiddos, both under 2, will try to eat them in some form or fashion.
Might as well give a little bit of a shout out to, was it Ravage Star? Mm-hmm. Gosh, I don't know if their thing is over already. It was supposed to be over some point today, but the bug faction that they had designed, Matt designed it, or was kind of the designing voice on that, and he designed a lot of that around Zerg more than Tyranids.
Oh.
So Like if you actually like the StarCraft style bugs, then those are more like them.
That is not the same one. Was this a Kickstarter or or a different one?
Might be a GoFundMe or no, an Indiegogo maybe. I don't know. I thought it was Kickstarter, but I can't remember now. They were doing a live show today, and I forgot which platform it was on.
Ah, okay. Can be hard to keep up with all of these. And so you said Matt designed them with that in mind, kids?
Yeah, because he was always a bigger fan of the Zerg, like the way the Zerg looked. It always felt more insect and bug-like, and the way they worked and all. But he liked the design of the miniatures better, which I kind of agree in a lot of ways. But yeah, so they designed those to be more like the Zerg, and so you can use them as 40K proxies.
Ah, especially if you like that more Blizzard style, I guess. Very nice. Andrew, and I backed it. Average start ended 41 minutes ago. There you go.
Oh well.
So
they probably have some sort of backer thing.
Yes, I'm sure they do. But I'm sure most people know about it because Dave was doing a whole long live stream for it, right? He's been just selling the heck out of it, and when we saw him at Nova, it seemed like he was generating a lot of interest in it. So Ravage Star is off to a really strong start. I hope people enjoy it. Zerg do look pretty sick, to be honest. Yeah, that's true. Jerry DeBaca. Hello from Las Vegas, New Mexico. Welcome back to the chat. Is it true that StarCraft was once supposed to be a Warhammer 40K game? That's the rumor I heard, that GW had contracted with Blizzard to make a 40K game.
Well, wait, that was StarCraft?
That became Warcraft.
No, Warcraft was like a Warhammer
was...
fantasy battle game.
Yes.
And then they pulled I don't know, it didn't work, but they'd already designed half the game. But that was for World of Warcraft.
Not for World of Warcraft, just Warcraft.
Well,
right?
Warcraft
humans and
humans versus
orcs.
But I don't know if StarCraft necessarily started out as any kind of GW thing.
Really?
Yeah, might have been just them straight up kind of
ripping them off right back.
No, hey, it's not copywritten? Bugs.
Bugs. You don't own bugs. No,
it's kind of just Tyranids, Eldar, and Space Marines, right? But it's broadly different enough, except for when you start getting into fire bats, which look exactly like Blizzard did them first, but then the new Primaris super suited guys look like Terran fire bats.
Nice. Thomas Grable, I posted a pic of Blightergast from Warfare Weekend on your Facebook. I saw that right before we went live. What base size is that model on? Because it's clearly gigantus. That's the word.
Gigantic.
I like Ender's
gigantus.
typo, actually. You can't copyright space bigs. They're all big. Just a bunch of bigs.
And big shoulder pads. Oops.
Big bugs, big shoulder pads, big guns.
That's true.
If you're in heroic scale, they have big heads.
Big heads as well. Yes, of course. I love it. Love me some War Machine. Yeah. It's still hanging in there, it looks like. Still don't know anyone locally who plays it, but we'll work on it. Jerry DeBaca asks, what do you mean go too far? So the example I brought up at the beginning was when Paul and I were talking about these Tyranids, right? So there's, not that way, this way. So this is the winged Tyranid dude. And if you don't like the wings, you could take them off. But does that change, one, create an issue of modeling for advantage, which I don't know if anyone cares about in the world of 40K. I mean, War Machine never had that problem because every base size had a certain volume to it and line of sight to it.
It was just a defined cylinder.
Always a defined cylinder, so you had to see the base or be able to draw a line to a base to really be able to see a model. Whereas in 40K, it's quasi-true line of sight. The first floor of buildings doesn't count now, and that's just a house or just a rule now that you have to remember. But otherwise, it's true line of sight. And then cover is super weird. So based on that, since you can modify the models, one, does it model for advantage make it harder to see that model? And then also, if it's a winged Tyranid, is it appropriate to remove the wings from the Tyranid? Like, should it then lose the fly ability or
Is it not
something?
WYSIWYG anymore?
Well, yeah, he's not WYSIWYG. So yeah, exactly. And you observe WYSIWYG a lot of the time for your guns.
For some reason, that sounds like a They Might Be Giants song, like a WYSIWYG Tyranid.
WYSIWYG does sound like a They Might Be Giant song. Ender, I love space bigs. It's a great idea. Found our
Don't
next
like Space
Kickstarter.
Littles.
Well, you can have Space Littles. It's the kids' game.
Okay.
Space bigs, Space Littles, like War Machine Hordes. You know. You
So wait,
can-
where do Rattlings fall into this?
They're. I mean, they're littles. That sounds horrible, like pulling the wings off a fly. No, it's just never putting the wings on to begin with. I don't know. Paul,
With
am I-
Tyranids, I like to glue them on, and just so I can
just
pull them off.
I mean, if you read about Tyranid lore, they don't care. Like, they don't. You never feel bad for a Tyranid. In fact, the last issue here of the White Dwarf that I just did a review for, and check that one out, White Dwarf issue 493, talks about how the Tyranids go to war, and it's terrifying. I think it was in this one. It has to do with the Fourth Tyrannic War. I'm going to double check and make sure I'm not lying and make sure it wasn't the last issue. Because it might have been. I've read a lot of White Dwarf lately because I had to kind of catch up. Venture's Mance, and then this. Courage and Cruelty. No.
Yeah, right. Like Jerry DeBacca's got it right here because it's like for the longest time, 40K was like we're not the competitive game, we're the beer and pretzels game.
Right.
But it's just so popular. Everybody wants to play the popular game competitively. And so I think they've even been kind of forced to address it more so, whereas I think they really didn't want to for the longest time.
Probably, yeah. I'm sorry, it's actually in White Dwarf issue 492. There's a whole article on how the Tyranids wage war and how they use their constant adaptability in order to be able to conquer worlds. So, you know, they initially talk about the initial invasion, sending a bunch of Tyranid, Termagants to the planet side, and they will be what tests the atmosphere. And if they're, as life forms not compatible with that atmosphere, they'll die off in a few days, but the next wave of Tyranids to come in are suddenly adapted to that environment and atmosphere, and like immunity to various things. I'm surprised they haven't become just straight up immune to bolt guns yet, because that seems to be where we're going with it. They're very, very strong and powerful, so no, you never feel bad for Tyranids. And like, what do they even want anyway? All they want to do is eat. All they want, it's just horrible. So yes,
They're just space teenagers. All they want to do is eat.
devout, consume until there's nothing left to consume no mores. Yeah. So that was the one thing. Let me see here. Ruben, in competitive play, some people will get upset about the wings being off models. True line of sight to any part of the model, but range is measured base to base. Most of the time it doesn't matter. I think it's more likely to be an issue, and I would have more sympathy for it if the argument is, I mean, he doesn't have wings on him. How do I know this is a flying unit? Like, that always has to be
Someone's
maybe
getting
reminded.
Clicking. Let me restart real quick.
Wait, good again? Am I bad? Sound?
There we go. I think we're
Okay,
good.
good. So I would have more sympathy for the argument that if the model is supposed to have the fly ability and they're called winged Tyranids and you've taken the wings off, at a minimum you should probably, tell somebody ahead of time, just, hey, these are what these guys are. I just modeled them without the wings. I think that probably clears up 99% of problems that people might have.
Or you just take the wings off and you remodel them with a balloon.
With a balloon?
The purple balloon.
Wow. Sorry, excuse me. Been up all day. So But beyond that, I don't really see people generally having an issue with it. I mean, you get into the weird hyper-competitive stuff. And the only tournaments for 40K I've ever done have all been friendly. I don't see myself joining a GT anytime soon. Because if somebody wants to be a jerk about, well, I should be able to see that, but you've modeled for advantage, or how am I supposed to know? Like, I think most people know that that's not very good sportsmanship, let's say. So, there we go. Jerry, I see. I don't think so. I would think to be part of the game, it's supposed to be, yeah, like you mentioned, the beer and pretzels game. And for most people, it is still that. I mean, even the game I played last week, it was a crusade game. And everyone was just being super chill, which is great, because the way my dice roll, it would just be so frustrating to fight in a
Teammates
GT.
need to just be patient with you. I don't know what your problem was. I walked up to the table and you were rolling like a boss, and I walked away.
Yeah, there was
Everything seemed fine.
that one amazing turn. So here's where people can be like, well, it all balanced out in the end, as if timing doesn't matter. Because it's like turn one, I got turn one, won the initiative roll to be able to go first. I'm like, yes, freaking, I've got 4 Lehman Russes, I'm gonna alpha strike. Whiffed, I think there was 1 wound over the whole thing, but out of like 40 shots or something, I don't know how many shots, there was like 3 hits. It was bad. It was like I needed 4s. Actually, I needed 3s in some cases because I did the take aim order. It was completely absurd. So that happened multiple times, and then whenever that Demon Prince came up and just completely slaughtered an entire unit of Space Marines, my tank commander just also needing 4s? No, I think he needed 5s because it was engaged. It was a whole mess. Just completely blew him away, just destroyed him, and that was the best rolling I did all game. And then we lost on objectives, everything else, but it was kind of close. It was fine. But yeah, Crusade, and everyone was just having fun and laughing and whatever. Sounds like a country song. Can't feel bad for Tyrannid. And I don't play 40K, but I'm the type of person who would totally forget a creature on the table can fly if it doesn't really have obvious wings. Is flying a relevant rule in 40K? Absolutely. Like, that does matter because that has to do with whether or not you can basically hop over terrain versus literally going around it. And because you don't need line of sight to charge in 40K, being able to shorten the distance you need to actually engage with something you want to charge is huge. So yes, if the opponent doesn't know that those models can fly and that hasn't been made apparent in some way, I could see that being kind of a feels bad moment. I mean, again, I would say for the most part, people are going to be pretty forgiving if in the beginning and maybe out throughout the game, you maybe just say like, oh, these are the flying guys. And I think that probably avoids most problems. But if you don't say that, and I mean, because I guess if you wanted to be a jerk about it, you could also deliberately model them not to have wings and then be like, but these are actually this model, and surprise players with that. And then that would be pretty inappropriate. Let's see, Revok, what do you think about the criticism against GW that started in the 90s that their models are over-sculpted, meaning unnecessarily over-detailed? I think that's silly. I mean, models...
I don't know if it's too much detail, but I think it's the dynamic poses that I think are too much. They just get a little crazy. No, I guess Age of Sigmar really seems to do it more, even.
No, Age of Sigmar, oh, those models are so pretty. I just don't see, like, I want an Age of Sigmar, I want a Night Haunt army so bad, but I don't think those models can survive being in my possession. I think I just need to walk away.
If your Rough Riders are having a hard time, I feel like the Night Haunts are just, they're
Those
done.
shafts are just sticking way out there. What do you expect to have happen? I don't know. So, as far as overly sculpted, I mean, War Machine. So, I mean, it was well into the 2000s by the time I was ever playing a miniature game, and like, I was playing War Machine, and plenty of those models had tons of detail on them. That was back when they were even still metal, because you had full emblems on like warjacks. And gosh, you look at like the Protectorate of Menoth stuff, and a lot of their early models have crazy detail on them. But it makes them more interesting to paint, because there's details you can pick or not pick, and a dry brush can bring out a lot of details and make the model look way better than where you feel like your own painting capacity would get you otherwise. So I don't know that that's an issue. As Disembodied Voice pointed out, definitely the posing is more annoying. I know the thing that we all currently make fun of GW for is tactical rocks, like the idea of, oh, there's this new model coming out. Is he jumping and his foot is just barely touching this rock that's up on the base? Tactical rocks are ridiculous and are very, very overused. Now, I do like that a lot of the GW models have full little base dioramas, like Leontis is on this whole wreckage thing, which was kind of a trick to put together, but actually not that bad. But it's better than just rock foot. Tiny,
I like
tiny
to think they're
connection
tripping
points.
over the rock. Like they're all just very clumsy.
Yeah, that must be what's happening. Ruben, flying kind of sucks in 10, so it may not come up that much, to be honest. Hasn't for me anyway. Just put some really minimal Cupid wings instead. I suppose if you were to change out the wings for literally anything else that would, to a normal eye, represent wings, like actual fly wings or something weird, you'd probably get away with that, because now you're not losing what's being represented. But I don't know. Noisy. Pick a random Age of Sigmar faction. Going to buy the Vanguard box for it. Nighthawk. All right, Ruben. Most people do know I play at GTs somewhat regularly, and I've only run across these kinds of players once or twice. Okay, yeah. It does seem like that is not going to be that common an experience. Most people who want to play 40K generally just want to have fun with it. Like, you have to.
Is that Noisy saying that he wants you to pick a random Age of Sigmar faction and then he'll buy a box for it? Like you're going to choose his next faction?
Nighthaunt or Gloomspite Gits. I don't even like mushrooms, but the Gloomspite Gits look so cool. Like they.
The troll-like ones.
Yeah,
right? Those
yeah.
are what I'm painting right now for Louise.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they're so fun.
Well, they're mostly goblins and then they have trolls, I think is what it is.
They're all super colorful and weird, and like I imagine if you enjoy painting, I mean, are they fun for you to paint? Have you? Yeah, one way or the other. More fun than something else, or
always easier when you're doing a commission painting for the person to have a clear idea of what they want their army to look like.
Well, sure.
The moment they say, well, just do whatever you want with it, it becomes a lot harder to decide what to do. Because you have a vision for your own army, but not necessarily for everybody else's army.
And they'll receive their Candyland Gloomspite Gits.
My Little Ponies.
That's right.
Colors or some Rainbow Bright.
But I mean, I was given a general idea, so I'm working towards that. It's just sitting there and being like, okay, so what color are these ones? Okay, well, let's work towards that.
Indeed. Well, it's like the Gloomspite Gits, though, they were not as rank and file infantry as like what these guys are, right? Like this is military for the most part. All the models are getting basically the same paint scheme. I feel like the Gloomspite Gits just has a little bit more variety going on. Yeah.
That's basically what I'm facing right now. This is like, okay, well,
Hang on,
this is
seems
this
like we're having
unit.
trouble again.
We good?
All right.
Hopefully.
I mean, it's
Hopefully
reset,
good.
so we'll see if it's good.
Okay. Freaking sound.
Yeah, the only problem I have is like every little unit that I finish, I have to stop and be like, okay, now what's this next one gonna be?
Well, we had an update like when we turned on the computer today, and so a bunch of stuff isn't going to work apparently.
Everything stopped working as much as possible, as it goes. Michael Gray. So Tyranid sends scouts to test a planet and co-opt human inhabitants to prepare for a massive winged alien flying through space. Oh crap! Lovecraft predicted Tyranids.
Tyranids are very
Tyranids came from
Lovecraftian.
Yeah,
in a
Lo-
way.
Lovecraft
For
was
sure.
ahead of his time for sure. It must have sucked for him too, right? Because like, just being like, if he lived today, you know, how many people would just be like all about Lovecraft, like fans of him? Whereas I don't know that he.
He had some success in his
Yeah.
day, but yeah, certainly not the
Yeah.
crazy success he has now for sure.
Isn't that usually how it goes?
No, I don't
For
know.
artists, yeah. I mean, older ones. Anyways.
Older ones, sure. Nowadays, I don't think that is much the case at all. I don't think there's a lot of artists that don't get.
There's so much more
recognized in their own.
exposure nowadays.
Exactly.
Not necessarily a good thing.
Let's see. I've been tabled on turn 2 before. Was playing Tau, like against Tau, because yeah, turn you can definitely get tabled by Tau. Pretty brutally, I was pretty much tabled by Tau at Valhalla. It was still a fun game, but yeah, you're like you can do what? And Tau get better from turn to turn. I think by turn 3, you're like if you haven't killed off most of their stuff, then you're in trouble.
But yeah, you were also playing against Chris, so.
Let's see, don't plan to build it at all. See, Noisy, I have a Night Haunt Battle Force. I would literally give you. Oh. I mean, I appreciate that, but there's the other issue of I don't know that I would play it either, so I don't want it to go to waste. Paul, the pose of that Eversor assassin made it pretty awkward to paint. That's actually a second attempt. I have the original, but that went really badly and couldn't strip it properly. Oh, you had to actually buy it again? It's the one that's like running along the little half pipe there. Andrew, Gitzarin is dangly, but some lists need over 100 of them? Oh, no. That's too... I mean, I know I play guard, but even then, like, that's a lot of models.
Well, guard, yeah, it's like, okay, need troops. All right, I'm tired of troops. We're going to fill the rest in with tanks.
Well, yeah,
And then
that's
tanks
the thing I always
chonk
loved
up
about
those
guard.
points real fast.
It's like, yeah, Rogel Doran was like 285 points or something, like, out the gate. Just put in a few of those and plenty of Russes. Now, you still need infantry for, like, taking objectives and sitting in the backfield to not get deep strike targeted, but, you know, other than that. Thomas, Miranda, you have to attend Warfare Weekend next year. You missed out on so much fun. I know. It does sound really good. I have literally never been to Warfare Weekend, but maybe next year. That would be kind of cool. I am going to Adepticon. I'm going to try and go to LVO. So then, yeah, like maybe we could do the other convention. Like, I get it's Warfare Weekend. It's not necessarily the whole convention, but that would be fun, honestly, like to check that out and enjoy those conventions again. Of course, Nova. A lot of travel planned, actually. Professor Castor, I have multiple armies that each have very different levels of paint to match their aesthetic. Like, Grimkin are very Mod Podge, and the Crucible Guard are very high detail painted to match the box art. Oh yeah, we never really messed much with the Crucible Guard, did we? I think we got one model in.
No, we got a few. I liked them. I thought they were
Yeah.
pretty cool, but I'm trying to remember. We didn't get as many as I was hoping because I was wanting to kind of put stuff together and try those guys out. They seemed really neat.
It was never a full force, but they
I
were.
think Dylan was actually interested in playing them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that not one of the ones that DJ was interested in?
Crucible Guard? I don't recall him being interested in Crucible Guard. I thought he liked
I think it was
Protectorate.
the.
or no, he liked IO's Protectorate.
yes.
He liked
Retribution.
It's funny. I always flip those because I think of the religious one because I think of a Retribution Paladin,
Right.
and then the Protectorate I would think of more as like elves, but so I always flop them in my head.
Exactly. Mandragora, greetings YouTube is worse and worse with letting me know when shows will be up. Sorry I'm late. Yeah, YouTube just doesn't care about anyone.
We need to do like a proper mailing list or something at some point, figure out an actual like email alert system for videos or I
Yeah.
don't know. We need to figure one of those things out.
Yeah, we should. Of the many things to do.
We're open for suggestions if anyone wants to
Yeah,
post
you
a
know.
comment and let us know what a good one is because I don't actually know.
The Plunder Den, hello and welcome. Jerry, tabled. I was Tau playing against orcs. Oh, okay, well, Tau are a lot stronger. Although the orcs are no joke. Because I played against Rich's orcs
I
at
was going to
Valhalla
say, it's
too.
hard to tell because I only see Rich playing orcs, and he's like one of the best players. So.
Just incredible players, yeah. So there's that. So, you're like, oh, this army's weak until they put them in the hands of someone who really knows what they're doing, and then you're like, never mind, user error. Oh, man. JP got rockets. Siege Studios is hiring for the U.S. What say you, Flo? Siege Studios, like hiring a painter, I guess?
Yeah, they do painting and stuff.
Oh.
I mean, it's a really cool prospect. Yeah, I don't really work for other people, though. I don't know. I find that I really like working hard under people until people decide that they're gonna treat me like I'm not working hard. And then I just don't want to work for them at all anymore, and that's the problem I run into. So when I'm working for myself, I can't really say
You're stuck with yourself.
I'm stuck with myself.
That's one way of doing it.
Yeah, I don't know what the Siege Studios setup would even look like, to be honest.
Yeah.
Be
I don't
interesting.
even...
Interesting thought. Mandragora, all I want for the holidays is to be able to start printing Moriaxes, but I'm still homeless, so I can't buy resin to have it shipped to me. Oh, poor Mandragora. I hope that situation gets resolved.
My mind, I just
forthwith.
think of him like with a shopping cart out in a park, like just this warm glow of a computer screen right now. He's just outside of his cardboard box and, with his 3D printer inside of it, like working away.
Yes, that must be what's going on. Professor Castor, they're pretty neat. A lot of nastiness they throw on folks. Yeah, the Gloomspite gets. What's up, Adeptus Ridiculous? Welcome, welcome. I love Nemesis games. Oh gosh. Ender, best faction in the whole game, and it's not even a full faction. Are you talking about Crucible Guard? Yeah. They definitely got a lot of love. They got some decent story in the lore from Acts of War.
In some ways, those are the nice factions to actually pick up and play because they kind of come along a little later and they kind of design them as full rounded factions. And so something like Grimkin, you can kind of collect the whole faction.
You can have them all.
And you can kind of play the whole faction.
Right.
And so,
No,
I don't know, it's actually kind of nice in a way.
Yes, indeed. No, I love Grimkin specifically for that reason, that you can hope to actually have them all. Because having everything cater it's overwhelming. Like, there are just too many models in that. And I know they've sort of done a whole reset now, and everything's coming out in more of a limited faction set, so maybe that will be a lot easier for people. Sorry for all the yawns. It's been a long day, and I've got a long weekend ahead. We got so much going on. Not miniature related, unfortunately. I want to get a battle report done. So super randomly, I got a message from someone in my local meta that my name was mentioned in an article on the website Vice because there was some change up with the British government and the Home Secretary was some guy. But apparently he subscribes to my channel, so thank you.
I have no idea what his politics are, but
No idea.
he's like,
English politics.
Yeah.
But this Vice article mentioned like, oh, he's into things
Warhammer.
like Warhammer, which is all about like fascism and like
where it's what is it? Britain's idea of like
Britain's take on like a grim future or something like that. Yeah.
where they worship a zombie
It's-
emperor and like you're
It's a
going
bit of a hilarious article to read, admittedly, but
which means you
I
should
was-
totally link it.
but it's like, hey, they said my name. So
kind of hilarious.
that
but
was pretty fun.
like I said, I have no idea what the guy's politics or anything are, but it's kind of. He seems all right. He's talking about like, yeah, I grew up painting this stuff, and now with my sons, I collect and paint them. And you're like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was just funny because my meta was all like, hey, did you know you were mentioned in this? I'm like, okay. It's really random. Let's see, Vice. I don't know who reads Vice, but, there's that. All right, I'm going to share this article.
Oh, that's
with you.
right. The title: Warhammer fan now in charge of overseeing crumbling remnant of vast empire.
Right? Like,
not a
what a
pointed
thing to
title.
say. So, here, I'm just going to share this lovely article of that whole thing. So, it was kind of funny. And then I moved on. So, yeah, it was kind of funny. Let's see. I would apply, but I'm just not their quality, says JP Got Rockets. Paul, I've heard mixed things about Siege Studios. People said they've won their social media giveaways but never get their prizes. Oh no. I wonder what goes on with that. Professor Castor, if you're ever interested in hearing more War Machine Hordes and Iron Kingdoms lore, feel free to check out the channel. Thank you for inspiring me to start my own War Machine channel. Oh, Professor Castor has a channel. Let's not get you in. Why can't I click your? Oh. Well, what is your channel? Just Professor Castor? Let's see. It literally won't say like go to channel. It just gives me ways of putting you in trouble. Is everything the @ sign now? Is that what you have to do? Nope. I don't know.
Just YouTube and then just search for them, I guess.
Okay.
It's like, why is YouTube difficult now?
Because it's advanced. Professor Castor. There we are. Let's see. Comprehensive course, Professor Castor delves deep into the rich lore of the Iron Kingdoms. What? Oh, wow.
There you go.
Oh, there's all kinds of cool stuff in here.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're deep dives. Wow, this is awesome. Thank you. I'm going to have to check that out because basically, once the Hengehold Scrolls concluded, I have not caught up much on it at all. Like, I have the app, and there's some free lore in there, and I've read some of it, but not all of it, and then I paid for the app for a while, but then I stopped paying for it, so I have access only for, like, a few more days, I think. And so if I want to read more of the lore, I'll have to pay for it, and then I don't know when I'm going to get around to it, so it's a whole thing. So, yeah, this is a really good option. Thank you. Appreciate you pointing that out, Professor Castor. Michael Gray will critique army lists for food. Mandragora, oh god, I am so bookmarking that disembodied voice. Jerry DeBaca, where I think modeling goes too far is when you cannot use a Reaper model as a commander or something in a Warhammer army, or a confrontation model in War Machine. I mean,
Honestly, at my heart, I kind of agree with that.
as far as like keeping the IP all together.
I don't know. I don't even think you'd necessarily have to. I don't mind. Like, if it's a whole other army,
Yeah.
you know, and you're like, oh, I'm just proxying the whole army for this other thing. Yeah, that's fine. I see why people might get upset. But if it's like, yeah, you know, I kind of have this really cool, you know, I don't know, other game like character, but they're a character, and I modeled them on the correct size base, and you know what I mean? Like, you've gone out of your way. You didn't just pull it out of the box, but you're like, made it, you know, where you've painted it to match your Space Marine army. It's just something different. I think that should be fine.
Yeah.
I don't like that companies get all like fussy about that. I wish they didn't.
I mean, there's a certain amount of within reason. I can see why a company would not be happy to have, I don't know, if you bought into Ravage Star and your entire army is now this army for playing 40k at like a tournament or something. Like, especially if there's prize support and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, no, I understand that. I don't think most people care for the most part. It can be confusing if you have too many things proxied, though, and the other player's used to what they actually look like. And then they have
Yeah.
to just.
But it's like,
be
if you have a
mapped.
few things and you're painting them to match the rest of the army, and you even mention ahead of time, hey, this is my this. I just thought he'd be cool looking this way or whatever. Like, I don't see any
Yeah.
problem at all with that.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, part of it's just like be reasonable, but like I know being reasonable is a very subjective line, and so it sucks to try and write just a very specific rule, which I think is why companies are just very blanket, like, no, just no other IP thing. I think for the most part, they're still forgiving if you completely sculpt something yourself, but not if you have some other IP.
Yeah, I think a lot of places, they'll allow a 3D printed model, but only if it's like you're the sculptor.
Mm-hmm. Ender, can't go wrong with alchemists, crazy experiments, and weird science. Amen, brother. Thomas Grable, I ran a Requiem adventure at Warfare Weekend. The players had a blast. Yeah, you'd mentioned that you were going to do that. How many people did you have? Michael Gray, James Cleverly is a subscriber. Is he here? I have some feedback. I don't know. Vice somehow could see who he was subscribed to. Who knows when that even happened?
But we welcome all subscribers.
Dude, yeah.
Anyone listening, feel free to subscribe.
By all means. I don't care. Let's see, the Plunder Den. Tonight I am converting a toy train set into World War I armored train for Blood and Valor. Oh, nice.
That sounds cool.
Andrew, oh my god, I want to read that article. And then again, that title goes hard. Right? Isn't it completely, like, what an unhinged title. And it seems like it starts off, like, really hostile, and then just sort of runs out of energy and just peters into a very neutral article at the end. You're like,
yeah.
It's just like, they were mad, but it was really just so hard to stay mad when you're talking about Warhammer, people who play Warhammer. And it's just,
like I said, it gets down that they eventually are talking about like his quotes where he's like, yeah, I enjoyed playing and painting as a kid. And now that I have kids of my own, we spend time together doing that. And it's like, yeah, I guess it's hard to just be furious at the keyboard when you're typing that out.
I'm like, whatever, submit. I met my deadline. It's just ridiculous. No, getting that article sent to me was a weird day. Yeah, of course, because of course I'm just like, hey, Paul, check this out. Oh, Depth is ridiculous. Move along. These aren't the droids you're looking for. We just finished the first semester, said Professor Castor. Kador and Circle of Boros. Nice. Yeah, so Michael Gray, it looks like I'm already a subscriber and just forgot. See, there you go. Just probably like Mr. Cleverly. Paul, Miranda was also a large part of starting my YouTube channel. Have you seen this video game? No? I'll put a clip of it online. Oh, I know. There's so many clips of, like, either weird Phasmophobia runs because Paul likes to harass revenants, or, like, Ready or Not gameplay, because Paul just loves SWAT simulators, I guess.
Wasn't there was some sort of game, like little clip he put up that I swear got like more views than our whole channel?
Oh yeah, it was Doom. Was it Doom? What was the one, Paul? It was, yeah, it had crazy number of views. Let's see. Professor, always good to see more IK lore content. Yeah, it is nice to see that. It's not easy to get a hold of. Adept is ridiculous. Damn right, proxy agnostic. That's the best way to do it. It's just, I mean, generally, like, if two players, like, consenting adults really kind of overrides just most things for me. And so I'm like, if that's your jam, then I'm not going to really want to tell you what to do otherwise. Like, who cares? So only when there's conflict do you really need to really start dicking with rules. Paul, I once used the old metal Abaddon as a regular Chaos Marine in Kill Team. My opponent got too focused trying to kill him when he wasn't my leader or even a specialist. Well, yeah, and then there's sort of like that psychological game that you could play with it. Ruben, I'm in and out of chat tonight, but I have a few more War Machine related question for you. Is there a use for the Extreme Juggernaut and the Extreme Destroyer models in War Machine now? They would all be legacy models, I think, and the Extremes were just for funsies. Like, you could play with them, but
are Juggernauts and Destroyers not like in the regular game at this point?
I think they're legacy. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. There might have been bringing Juggernauts in or something like that. I don't know.
Did they have it where like certain types of lists still used them or something like that? Certain
maybe it was
themes,
something like that.
I'm not 100% sure now.
I don't remember. I built my list for these guys and then hadn't really messed with it after that. And it's crazy because I have hundreds and hundreds of caterer models that I don't know what I'll do with exactly. Make a really big diorama. Jerry Tobacco, cleverly placed sisters. Love those Peniton engines. Indeed. Ruben, I have them, but I haven't even assembled them. Been sitting on them forever. I just want to make sure I can decide the time these models, I can dedicate the time these models deserve. I love them so much and miss old War Machine hordes. Ooh.
I think there's a fairly burgeoning community of Mark III players. Like, I think there was a proper split in a lot of ways, and I think there's a lot of people that are like, nope, we're playing Mark III. And
I
look
think
around,
so.
you might find groups in your area that are
Just
doing
still
that.
playing. Actually, you can also check out the Tried and True YouTube channel. Erica and her team put together a website for finding War Machine metas, like finding local communities to you. Kind of like Game 4, if you remember
Yeah, it
what
was
Adam was
Adam's,
part
right?
of. But dedicated specifically to War Machine. So check out the Tried and True channel because they have a website for that. And I think they finally got it up and running where you could potentially see groups that are local to you who are playing some version of War Machine. And I mean, I think War Machine Mark III is living on despite what despite company support. At Valhalla, people only played Mark III.
I think we're getting our clicks again when we start it.
MG.
All right. Probably it's back up.
Okay. Andrew, ChatGPT ran out of energy to be angry at Warhammer.
Yes.
So, in fairness, ChatGPT has a deep knowledge of 40K. It's a little unnerving, actually. She'll be like, what is this in the world of 40K? And it'll give you, like, detailed description. Like, you could do lore videos not knowing squat all about 40K. Just probably be like 90% there all the time with ChatGPT articles. It's hilarious. But, oh my God, Andrew, you're my favorite response tonight. That's amazing. Oh, Adeptus, I like your thumbnail. I agree with you about going over the top with kit bashing and proxying something that's not canon to be canon. Ho-hum. I mean, again, like if people agree, then there's no argument. It's just, if people don't agree, I think in my view, the leading factor to be considered is just don't make the models confusing to the other players. Like if you play even a relatively, even simple war games, like there's enough to keep track of without also having to remember that, oh, these opponents' models are actually these other models. Like that, unless everyone agrees, can be a bit of a big ask for people. And especially if you're going to do that for more than one model or more than one unit, and then that's like a lot of weird extra to keep track of. And I've proxied stuff before, usually because I just don't have the actual model and I'm trying to test it to see if it'd be worth buying or is this game worth playing at all? So let me proxy this stuff just to see how it plays first. I think those are fine, but again, in those cases, my opponent was also fine with it. So it always goes back to that. Paul, it was a clip of Doom Eternal. It's on 1.3 million views.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild. Andrew Fairbanks, a PC Gamer review for AOS Realm of Ruin starts off a two-paragraph diatribe about AOS replacing Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Michael Gray, I was so jealous of other factions' Extreme Jacks, Beasts, and War Machine. The Extreme Warp Wolf looked like a spider had fallen down its sweater.
Because it's like leaping forward.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And well, at least they must look really good on a shelf. Indeed, right? Thordalim D. Kaladi? Greetings. Do I spy rogue hobby dice? You do indeed. Good sir. Good catch. These were gifts from Paul, so. But Rogue Hobbies is a pretty cool channel, so you can check them out. I'll throw them in there. You can enjoy those too. Ta-da. Paul, you are the best. You need to calm down with proxy kit bashing. Chill. Let's see. Let's see. JP got rockets. These Havocs are Tyranid warriors, and this dump truck is a Carnifex, etc. Yeah. See, like after a while, you're
Dump
like,
truck.
yes, exactly. Like, and to be fair, and we talked about this like a couple weeks ago. Sort of the magic of something like H.G. Wells' description in Little Wars about just finding things that you kind of make work because there's certain magic in it. It really depends on what the players are going for in that time. Now, you're not doing this in a GT. You probably need the correct models and everything to be right for something that competitive and that high level, but maybe a dump truck can be a Carnifex sometimes, is all I'm saying.
That's right. Or maybe that Carnifex has dumps like a truck. Isn't that how the lyrics go?
It's got mud flats or I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
Truck. Guys, like, what? Yes. I'm pretty sure.
wow, guys.
Like, wait a minute. Let me think about that. Yeah, I think it is.
Paul from the channel, formerly known as Trollhole, or other Paul. I don't think that's the same Paul. And yes, as Paul mentioned, he painted all of the assassins you see here on the turntable, and he provided me the Lego man, although admittedly I assembled him.
Yeah. Yes, with
It was so difficult.
great skill.
This is great. So I had to take that stupid backpack off a couple times because I'm like, oh, right, the arms should go on first. But, you know, after like a whole minute and a half, we got there. So, oh. See, the pack of dice I bought, I got 10 black and 10 pink. Sent Miranda 2 of each. Yay. Yes, you're right about the proxy etiquettes. It must be agreed upon before play. See, when the nostalgia hits hard, I go and rewatch your old War Machine Hordes battle reports. I do relatively often, to be honest. I wish so badly that War Machine can be like that again. It was kind of a magical time during, especially Mark II, when it was really taking significant market share. It was not necessarily competing with smaller games like Malifaux and Infinity and, you know, Flames of War was kind of big, but, you know, like Bolt Action and stuff. Like, those games kind of all fought amongst themselves, and, like, War Machine wasn't quite up there with, obviously not with GW, but it was probably the biggest American war game we had. And then, yeah, now it's...
There's some arguments about, like, because, I mean, obviously, I keep wanting to call it TIE Fighter.
Star Wars X-Wing?
Yeah, X-Wing.
X-Wing was significant.
technically kind of there, even though it wasn't quite, I don't know, it's kind of like in the Hero Clicks range, you know, in a lot of ways. But yeah, like, I don't know where, was Battlefront even out yet?
No, not at that time, I don't think. I think Battlefront
Okay.
came out later.
But yeah, it was huge, though. Like, at least public perception, it was doing battle with 40K, right? It's kind of the scrappy underdog.
Yeah. And I mean, tons and tons of people knew what it was. And you'd go to Adepticon and there was, like, took up a big tournament space. Like, it was really cool. And yeah, I was in the old school tournaments, like the hardcore tournament a couple times. But I love Adepticon. I don't think I'll ever sign up for a tournament on Adepticon again. That was exhausting. Having to do like 3 games in a single day is too much. I think more than 2, and you're cooked.
Oh, I feel like you did 5 in a day or something like that. You did a
It was
bunch.
a lot. It was a whole lot, and I was
played like
totally
2 or 3
confused.
friendly games before the tournament started, and then played the hardcore tournament.
Oh, is that what
Like
happened?
that was all on the same day, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were moving around a Khador infantry army.
That's right, because I had my Old Witch 1, and I did a whole infantry thing. It was like kind of a weird list, but I've been practicing with it, and she did all right. Like, I was right in the middle of that whole tournament, so I felt pretty good. I was like, right in the middle. Mid-range, just like my Astra Militarum. So, but yeah, it was a really cool and magical and cool, fun time. Like, a lot of friendly people there, even though I also remember visiting the 40K hall during several Adepticons, and they'd be like, oh, you're part of the War Machine group? Those guys are jerks. I was like, oh, Because there was a reputation of War Machine players being the more cutthroat ones. And
Yeah.
I don't think that is in any way the case at this point. No one can argue that, I think, now. So, yeah. Nothing bad. It was a channel on Twitch where Paul paints miniatures. Oh, funny. Michael Gray. Weirdly enough, I've had more games of War Machine 3rd Edition since 4th Edition was released than during a lifetime of 3rd Edition. Fair enough. Yeah, because I think Dana, he only played... Jeremy said he just
Yeah,
did the
Dana was
3rd
a 3rd edition
edition.
guy.
Tyler only played, like... He was curious to learn 4th. I just didn't get around to showing him how to do it. And then he ended up getting in a game of 3rd, and I think he had more fun for it, honestly. And
Yeah,
then
like,
I played
I think at Valhalla, everyone played 3rd. That's just what
Yeah.
they ended up doing.
No, the 4th edition didn't really come up. And I had even practiced it a little bit to be like to teach some people, but never came up. So I don't know. At Warfare Weekend, I assume it was all 4th edition. I don't assume anybody was still playing 3rd, at least officially. Ruben, JP, I played in an RTT once where my opponent played a Whataburger orc army. He couldn't afford models, so he used a literal cup as a truck and straws as rockets, etc. It was horrible.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so you know how there's like good and bad movies, and there's like the middle, forgettable, whatever, terrible movie. Like the movies aren't so bad, they're memorable, but they suck, and they still feel like they waste your time. Like that's probably a lot of people over proxying. But then there's like that level where somebody made a bunch of stuff out of Whataburger cups. I feel like that's memorable and gets a little bit of a pass on account of imagination. Oh, Whataburger cup.
I did that once with what was it? The Space Marine Scout flyer, a little storm flyer. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but it's the one where you could transport Space Marine Scouts on. But I was
like a
hanging
land
out
speeder.
at Ken's house, and he and Brooke were playing, and I was waiting to get in a game, and so I just sat there and like it was like a cardboard box, and I like carefully cut it out so it looked exactly like the model. Was like gluing it together and stuff, but you could absolutely tell what it was.
Well,
Like,
and
when
so
it
if you
was
can
done.
tell what it is, then you're removing that confusion aspect of it, and now it's just like, then the only thing left, and it's kind of like up to the players again, is like, well, I spent a lot of money on my models and you didn't, and so like, are you really gonna be mad at your opponent for that? Like, that's kind of dickish. So
Yeah. Like on the one hand, you are kind of upset. You're like, hey.
it's like, it's not unlegit, but it's still kind of dickish. It's like, but I know what it is. Freaking cut out. Like, if everything was like a cardboard chit now or something. Like the old school board games used to have, for everything was miniatures.
Well, the new Nemesis they're coming out with, they're actually offering both versions. One that's just the cardboard
Oh.
chips and one that's the models.
For
So that way
which
it's
one?
Nemesis?
new Nemesis
Oh,
they're
okay.
coming out with, which is more like Aliens versus Alien, the board game.
I hope that it makes it not a $200 board game at that point then.
I think if you're doing the backing of it, it's like
It's only
$50 for the chips, and then it's like $110 for the full.
Oh, it is 150.
Wow. Wow.
Hey, Chris is in.
What's up, Chris Bello? In the house. Hello. Mark II Warhammer Hordes players were more cutthroat. True.
Probably the most.
They were the most hardcore. You had the podcasts and all of the online chatter, and you had the War Machine University, Line of Sight. There's so many
It was
places
interesting
dedicated
because
to.
there was even kind of a rivalry against, not with the actual podcasters. They all seemed pretty friendly to you. Like they seemed to
Oh, yeah.
enjoy and appreciate what you did. But like a lot of the players were like, well, she's not real competitive and whatever, so we're not going to watch her. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, that was when there was this weird move because it just felt like spin doctoring of sorts, right? Because there's different styles. If you're going to do a battle report, you know, our style just happened to be that we would get the camera in there. We'd try to make like this little sort of narrative to it. And that caught on. I mean, that's obviously really popular with like 40K games. But then there's like that locked camera angle, and that one got classified as like the competitive. Like if you were playing competitively, that's the way you'd watch it. And it was like, I don't know, like whatever, man.
Like it's informational. I mean, with it
Yeah.
locked down, you can see where people are and relative and all that stuff. But it was like,
But
it's like, I don't know. I thought they were fine. They're, you know, if you're really just looking for strategies and stuff, you can definitely find them on there. And sometimes even they were good banter, and the guys would hang out, and it was good fun to listen to.
that's true. There would be the banter ones as well.
But like, but yeah, just the idea that a narrative one is like, it's just garbage. It's like, okay, sure.
Right? It's like, it just reminded me of playing Warcraft over again. It's like, oh my god, if you don't have this gear, you don't meet this eye level, it's crap. You're like,
not Scottish,
oh,
it's crap.
Jesus.
No, it was just weird because this is like, I don't know, A, it's a game. You just play it to enjoy it. And B, like you just, I mean, you can watch the fun ones too. Like, well,
Yeah.
we even in LVO, we even recorded a competitive game.
We tried to, and yeah, we tried to.
No, we did.
I had the flu
It turned
during
out pretty
that.
well,
that was
but
miserable.
no one
was.
seemed to care. They were like, it's
no.
not the lockdown style.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's just the way people think of it. And I don't know, I don't chase metas, I don't chase whatever. If you guys are, for those of you still playing Darktide, the announcement for Carnival, the Traitor Curse came out today. It was a trailer for that, and so I'd made a comment, and somebody's like, because I have my Mark 12 Cantrell, Mark 12 las gun, and somebody's like, well, it's this other gun now, and I'm like, I don't care. I sign in, I pew the things, I just want to run around in the game. I don't care about chasing anything.
Well, it's like, I'm fine if a build works really well or something, but if it doesn't feel fun to play, then I don't care how good it is, you know? And there's just certain things that just feel more fun to me. And so if I'm just not as good at it, I don't care.
Oh, yeah. Andrew, Warma Hordes passed 40K, if I recall correctly, or at least it was number 2 or 3. Yeah, it was number 2 or 3. It never passed 40K, but like War Machine Mark II was also on a riding kind of high on a really strong meta while, what was it, 7th edition was out of 40K, and everyone hated it.
7th or 6th?
I think it was 7th edition.
Yeah.
And it was
Well-
long in the tooth. It was complicated. Like,
Well, GW was also, they had like shut down all, like they had no social media presence.
that's right.
They were being jerks in general. Like,
They were really leaning into, we're a modeling company. Like,
yeah, we don't
screw
care
you
about your
gamers.
rules and
Yeah,
stuff, like-
exactly. And then they turned around and everybody was like, you know, they got
Well-
all of that back.
in the middle of that, Privateer was this like, you know, warm company that would, you know, if you ever had a problem with a model, they just send you a new thing, and you know, you could always reach out to them, and they would
Yeah, so
They had a forum, unlike now.
faction forums,
Like,
unlike that.
you know, they actually had all that stuff where
Yeah.
the people would post in them, and within like a day, if you had a rules question that couldn't be answered, you had infernals that would come on and take it serious. And
oh yeah, and they did take
like,
it serious.
yeah, and it was really cool. And then it seemed like those two philosophies, like company philosophies, kind of flipped over the course of Mark III. Like it seemed like they just sort of changed, like they both changed positions.
It was a little bit different, yeah, for sure. See, War Machine, or WGG, make War Machine great again. Champagne it. Adeptus Ridiculous. I mean, maybe eventually. Got so many things going on right now. Chris, Mark II Warmahordes players were more cutthroat. Yes. Paul needs his own camera. We don't know what he looks like. Poor Paul. Paul's like, what the hell? What am I doing this? A webcam of me wouldn't be that entertaining. Sat in the dark behind a keyboard, only lit by purple lights in my PC case.
Does Paul get a camera before I do? Is that how that goes?
Maybe. Just make him sign in on Discord or something, so I could have a camera, make it really tiny, so you just see like his purple glasses.
There you go.
Because he'd basically just be an anime
You
character.
just see his eyes with the purple light.
Yeah.
lighting them.
I feel like he would dig that. And then, yeah, someday you can get one too. Oh my goodness. Ruben, I want to play 4th edition, but 1, no one plays around me, and 2, I'm too attached to my old Warcasters. Well, then Mark 3 looks like where you're staying. I mean, Mark 4 is just more gamey. It's a lot of combos, and, you know, that's a lot of what War Machine was, so they kept that spirit of the game, but I don't blame people for wanting to stick with Mark 3 right now. Michael, Ruben, the War Machine app has been fully updated with all legacy unit rules now, so you can use your 4th edition units in 4th edition. I think you can use your 3rd edition units in 4th edition rules if you want. Oh yeah, that was kind of a change recently. Jerry, how about a bees and sunflowers Necron army?
I think that sounds great.
That does sound amazing. Sounds kind of New Mexico somehow. Oh, had ladybugs too, of course, Jerry. Excellent. My goodness, nightlight.
Well, imagine
miniatures.
what all the scarabs are, right? They're all just a bunch of ladybugs. Like if you painted them up like that, that'd be great.
That would be fun.
Like these little swarms of ladybugs.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly don't seem so bad.
It's like, oh no, I'm being eaten, but I'm fine with this. Like, ah yes, Dark Tide update is 10 gigabytes. Weeva. Fair enough. Thordalim, Decalati, your War Machine battle reports were really fun to watch. I don't even play War Machine, but kept waiting for the next one to be released. I rock the Commissar skin in Dark Tide. Oh, you play, Chris?
So you're the one who keeps shooting me in the back every time I try to
Every
run.
time you try to run away. Chris Bello. Mark II Wormhordes was a better game back when Warhammer 40k was dropping the ball. The GW borrowed some ideas from PP. Interesting days then. Oh, we still do. Battleforged are theme lists, or became theme lists. And it's a lot more open
just
now
the
on list
keywords.
building. Keywords, data slates being printable cards. About freaking time. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So there are certain things. I'm still waiting for, you know, the War Machine app to have printable cards. Just saying. Paul, I'd like Darktide far more if it had set characters like Vermintide 2. The banter and personalities were a huge part of the enjoyment for me. I don't know. I think they did a pretty good job. Like, I like my character, her little, you know, even though you don't ever get to see any of the backstory you set up when you build your character ever again. Like, if you didn't screenshot it, you don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know if you can look at what you chose.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe that's in some data somewhere you could parse, but it's not accessible from the game screen that I know of.
Yeah.
But I like having, like, my little character running around with her little personality, like, praising ratlings and talking about life on the farm, 'cause she's basically just from a farming planet. Like she's a Grox herder or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, sure, she's just some backwater planet, like, chick. It's great. Who's really tall.
Some tall redhead girl running around.
Yeah, exactly. I loved it.
I think mine is the angry Keanu Reeves, like preacher.
Yeah, the preacher is definitely fun. So yeah, I have been enjoying Darktide. I do love the characters of Vermintide and Vermintide 2, like Saltspire and Carillion, all of them. Like, they have a fun dynamic with each other, whereas like the rejects, you know, you really are just a lot more just in with random other people. So yeah, there's that. But I don't mind Darktide going after its own identity in that regard. I just wish there was more of an opportunity to explore the world instead of having to race through it at breakneck speed all the time, because everyone you get paired with is a crackhead, and there's such beautiful environments you don't get to see because of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember that character's name on the Dave Chappelle show, but it feels like everyone runs around like that guy, like the crackhead character.
It's
just like,
too
good
much.
Lord.
So there's that. Wargamer Girl, case in point, just castle it is with Bane Blades. Can't have enough Banes. Andrew, PP got hurt in the FPs when they promised balance in Mark III and clearly never tested Scorn. Oh, dang, looks like big game companies are having a girl fits. Might as well watch WWF. Oh, gotta run. Been fun. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for popping in. Mandragore. I'm definitely staying in Mark 2/3. If I can't buy a book to understanding what the heck happened to exterminate the entire retribution of Syra, then the game is obviously no longer for me. JP got rockets.
You're not so wrong, though. Mm-hmm. Although, I don't know, you might check out the Professor channel. I'm blanking on it. But you might check that out. I don't know if that might have some lore on it.
Professor Castor, I think?
Yes,
yeah.
Professor Castor.
Yeah.
He might have lore on that, which I'm actually going to check out because a lot of that information, it does seem not hidden, but not easy to find.
That easily accessible. I mean, there's so many 40K lore channels on YouTube, and they're amazing. I mean, you'd listen to Luton all day, every day, and still constantly be learning new things about 40K.
Oh, yeah.
Especially since you basically have to repeat his videos because it's so, like, nice to listen to. Like, it's easy to fall asleep to, and then you wake up. Anyway, it's the whole thing. So you watch his videos over and over. But there's so many good deep dives on 40K because it captures the imagination of so many people. And even though War Machine captures the imagination of lots of people, it doesn't have, it doesn't reach so many people that they're turning around and making cool lore videos. You have a few. I believe Maxicorn was one a while back where he would basically just like read the lore from the books.
Yeah.
And so that was at least a way of getting it. But now, if everything's kind of app-based, or gosh, those freaking Hengehold scrolls, you had to read them on Twitter, which was one of the most painful ways I've ever obtained lore in my life.
Yeah. Well, did it bounce around even? Like after Twitter, it was kind of
it got summarized onto actual web pages, and that was the only time I actually like finished reading them because I just, you can't read a narrative through Twitter. Like, it's unbearable. I don't know how anybody does it. That was not okay. And you had like the Skull Island Expedition books for a while, and then they had some books that actually made it to Barnes and Noble. Like, there were a couple of books that actually made it out that far. But then you had the ebooks, and then now they're like in the app, so they're just that way. So they're not even full ebooks, and it's bounced around enough that if somebody were interested enough, they could create some amazing, and maybe Professor Castor does exactly that, create some good lore videos that summarizes the many places you have to get all of that lore now. So that's my very long answer for saying you should check out Professor Castor's channel.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I choke to death. If I recall correctly, there's an army out there that is floral themed. No.
I'm trying to think
like Audrey Tooth floral themed, or
well, yeah, right. Like, is it painted floral themed, or is it like heavily modeled and modded,
or is it just like Kate Spade Paisleys all over?
One of my favorites was still at LVO years ago. There was some girl that had come and like she had used the just like kind of a flat piece as a base, and then just painted all of her Space Marines Barbie. Mm-hmm. And even had like their bases. She flocked them with glitter. It's like they looked fantastic. They were well done.
Yeah.
But it was like you instantly recognize what it's doing.
Yes.
Like, yes. A, that's kind of brilliant. And B, man, that must have been fast to paint that whole army. I'm a little jealous.
True fact. Andrew Fairbanks, the biggest part of GW's revival was Duncan. Well, I don't have him anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Kind of bringing more personality into the company.
Mm-hmm. Well, Rogue Hobbies was one of them also. Yeah. Nightlight Miniature Painting Studio. I honestly really enjoy Mark IV. I also got into it right before Mark IV was released, and the crew I started playing with were all very big fans of War Machine. They've had a few complaints about some nerfing. I mean, and if that's kind of like what you just end up getting into and playing, I don't think you have any of the feels bad experiences that older players are dealing with what about my whole army that I've collected for the last 10 years? Or maybe not liking the direction of a lot of those changes. So, I mean, Mark IV seems fine. It does not feel very wargamey to me at all. Like, losing psychology was a big problem for me. And honestly, pre-measuring was kind of a big problem for me too, even though apparently that opinion pisses people off. But it just makes it more like gamey, like gamey, little
more of
game
a board game
mechanics.
than it is a war
yeah,
game.
exactly. And so if you're gonna do that, then I don't know, would Mark IV play better on a hex map? Would that just make things easier? Like, do you even want the freeform movement? So there's things. But, War Machine was always my first love, so I will always have a soft spot for it, and I will continue to follow it. Chris Bello, when I'm feeling nostalgic, I do dream of playing my guy Drake McBain with Alexia. That was a great combo. Oh my gosh.
McBain.
My Darktide character was just recreating Saltspire. I remember, Paul. See, it's been fun the entire time we were hosting a Resurrection League soon. And we're hosting a Resurrection League soon. Especially since we all want to play Legacy armies. Love me some Cricks. Oh, nice. Cricks are fun. Cricks, yeah. The Plunder Den. I absolutely loved your battle reports. At some point, I would like to do something similar with Blood and Plunder. Oh, I bet that style would lend really well to your game.
I can definitely see, especially with the terrain and the models and stuff that you do, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Y'all got any more of that Darktide? Yeah, exactly, Andrew. Actually modeled in floral fashion. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know that Necron army at all.
They're all based on that like squishy green foam, like disintegrates as you push into it.
Oh no. Floral foam, I think, is actually what it's called.
Yeah. Just made for stabbing things into.
Andrew, JP got rockets. I remember that army. The Sunflower Wraiths were wild. There was also a Hello Kitty Space Marine army back then too. You ever see that? All the heads were replaced with Hello Kitty.
Yeah, I saw that one. That's great.
Catachan, that's floral, isn't it? Thank you, Deptus Ridiculous. I agree with you. I think they should have kept pre-measuring out of the game. Separates men from the boys. I
also agree.
I do. I think, and my argument for it has always been like the idea of fog of war, like what is warfare, what do you do with the information at hand, and depending on how granular that information is, how do you strategize around that? And it didn't seem to make sense to me that in a game like War Machine, you would have such exact, precise measuring tools to do that. But that battle has long been lost because everybody just pre-measures now, except you don't actually do it in bolt action.
What?
Yeah.
You mean the war game about war?
The war game about war with fog of war and
psychology rules.
And psychology rules and pinning. Yeah, no, I mean, and
Yeah.
honestly, like,
Turns out.
that's really, really good and fun. With mushroom drop pods. Oh, God. There's a Smurf Ultramarine army? No!
I hope they have proper Smurf heads with the little white hats.
With a little white hat, yeah. I do miss my gigantic purge template from the Mark II Bile Thralls. Oh, I remember those. Oh, they just come in and pop on you. Ugh, awful.
But I always kind of looked at, it's one of the reasons I liked War Machine, like the Iron Kingdoms, because it felt kind of possible. And you would even look at the ranges on the weapons and you're like, no, the accurate ranges of these things seem about right. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at that technology,
well, everything
in that
was
era.
shorter range, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, like the new edition has jumped ahead in the future. And so there's supposedly these developments in technology.
Yeah,
and I
just
don't know that
weird.
that's consistent.
It's weird
So.
seeing Khador troops with like magazines and all of their guns.
And it's still one shot.
Yeah, right. It's like they should have just gone ahead and just modeled them into Kalashnikovs, right? Like it's what they look like.
It's what they're, yeah. So I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect on that stuff yet, but it is what it is. If people are enjoying Mark IV, then that's awesome, honestly. So, and I know that Erica with Tried and True and her group will be at Adepticon running events there, and that's all going to be 4th edition.
Oh, and they're great. Like
They are.
they've got really
They're so
cool
good.
rules and everything for when you go there, they actually, each board kind of has its own rule set and everything. Like, it's really neat.
Well, yeah, they really leaned into a lot of the narrative ideas too, which I think is a huge part of sticking to a game.
If you haven't seen it, we actually did a video on Nova Open for the War Machine event that they had there, and like Miranda interviews her and her brother, and they talk about it. Like, it's pretty cool. If you especially if you like Mark IV, like, you should definitely go and play with those guys for sure.
Yeah, so make sure to hit up Adepticon. Tell them Wargamer Girl sent them to the tried and true table. All right, well, it's after 8, so we can go ahead and call it here. Next stream will be in 2 weeks, which is the 29th of November, last Wednesday of November, and past Thanksgiving, so yeah.
I do want to disagree with JP Got Rockets. He says tanks don't belong in fantasy steampunk. I do think some factions should have steam tanks.
Like the Crucible Guard?
Yeah. Crucible Guard is fine with a steam tank. For some reason, I was always fine with Khador having it as well.
Yeah.
But other factions, maybe not. But yeah, like, I don't know. Steam tanks have been such a thing for so long that I feel like they belong in there somewhere.
True fact. Or, I think I agree, anyway. So. Anywho, thank you all for joining us for our stream tonight. Thank you again to Paul for painting up all my lovely assassins that should be seeing some gameplay sometime soon, actually. Happy Thanksgiving?
No.
Oh, be sure to thank the creator, Menoth. Well, I'm glad somebody's looking out for War Budgies while he's not here. But yeah, we'll be back on the 29th, so I hope you all have a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving if you're here in the U.S., and if not, sorry.
Just have a wonderful regular day of the
Have
week.
a wonderful regular day of the week. Going to work, probably. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful app. And if you have other questions in the chat or anything, I'm going to be doing our little sign out, so I'll be in the chat for a little bit. All right. Yes. Barry, cover me. All right, guys, this is it. Copy that. No more sandwiches, Barry.
What's wrong with this place? I'm in the west corridor. I'm right outside the generator room. I'm out of bullets.